The global economic landscape is shifting, and India and the United States are working towards an interim trade agreement. This accord aims to strengthen economic ties between these two large democracies. The deadline for finalizing this phase is before July 8, 2025, creating urgency. The international community watches these developments with keen interest. A key factor is the recent history surrounding tariffs. The U.S. announced a 26% reciprocal tariff on Indian goods on April 2, 2025, but suspended it for 90 days. This suspension expires on July 9, 2025, providing a critical window for negotiations. Even with the suspension, a 10% baseline tariff remains on Indian goods entering the U.S. The 90-day pause allows both sides to find common ground. The interim trade deal is expected to cover trade in goods and address non-tariff barriers. It also aims to include aspects of the rapidly expanding services trade, particularly digital services. This pact is seen as the first phase of a more extensive bilateral trade agreement. India's primary objective is clear: a full exemption from U.S. tariffs. This includes the suspended 26% tariff and the existing 10% baseline tariff. Achieving this is essential for a more equitable trading environment. Tariffs increase the cost of Indian goods in the U.S., impacting competitiveness. Ensuring attractive and accessible products for American consumers is vital. The U.S. administration has the power to remove these tariffs without new congressional approval. Indian officials emphasize this point, hoping for a mutually beneficial outcome. Securing tariff exemptions preserves and expands India's market share in the U.S. A favorable tariff regime would boost various Indian industries and support economic development. India seeks to protect sensitive domestic sectors like agriculture and dairy. These sectors provide livelihoods for many, especially in rural areas. Indian negotiators seek safeguards like quotas and minimum import prices. The dairy sector is particularly sensitive due to small-scale farmers. Unrestricted access to U.S. products could disrupt rural economies. India also pushes for duty concessions in labor-intensive export sectors. The textiles and garments industry is a major export earner and employer. Reduced tariffs in the U.S. would boost this vital industry. India advocates for better market access for other export-oriented industries. Gaining lower tariffs for diverse items would support economic growth and diversification. The U.S. seeks improved market access in India for manufactured products and agricultural goods. This includes duty concessions for industrial goods and electric vehicles. The U.S. also wants reduced tariffs on petrochemical products and wines. American agricultural exporters aim to increase exports of apples and tree nuts. A contentious point is genetically modified crops, which India resists. The U.S. raises concerns about its trade deficit with India. India's trade surplus with the U.S. reached USD 41.18 billion in 2024 to 2025. U.S. businesses face challenges from non-tariff barriers in India. These include complex regulations and bureaucratic hurdles. Recent high-level diplomatic engagements have injected momentum into trade negotiations. India's Commerce Minister, Piyush Goyal, visited Washington, D.C. in May 2025. He held discussions with U.S. officials, including the Trade Representative and Commerce Secretary. These meetings aim to expedite the finalization of the trade agreement. The timeline for negotiations is ambitious, with talks continuing until May 22, 2025. The interim deal is seen as the first phase of a larger agreement. The goal is to double bilateral trade to USD 500 billion by 2030. The U.S. is India's largest trading partner, with significant bilateral trade. Challenges remain, including non-tariff barriers and reliance on China for raw materials. India must continue domestic reforms to capitalize on global supply chain shifts.